Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Horse Lightning Tanks. And let's get right to the news.
Well, I figured seeing as we did a deep cut on the actual Acolyte budget,
We did, yeah.
we should talk about the budget on Andor. Because Andor's budget was higher than Acolyte's.
Much higher from, I've heard of the number.
The number is $351.8 million.
And never has every penny been spent better. But that's a lot of pennies.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a huge amount of money to spend. That's more than they spent on Rogue One. Or no, it's just a little less than they spent on Rogue One. That's right.
Wow, how much did they spend on Rogue One?
Yeah.
I mean, those are some pennies well spent too, don't get me wrong, but...
It's actually less than what they spent on Solo, but more than what they spent on Rogue One.
Wait, Solo cost more?
Yes.
I don't hate Solo. I know a lot of people don't like it
Solo
at all.
cost like $364 million.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah, I don't know where that money went on Solo. I mean, they had a lot of problems, a lot of reshoots, they started it one way. So I guess the number makes sense, but that's a lot of money to spend on Solo.
Now that information does come to us from Forbes, so a nice reliable source.
Yeah, they're not making it up. Well, I hope not, anyway.
But with Forbes' information, it's interesting to compare how Acolyte, which had a exuberant budget, high budget, compares to Andor, which had a higher budget. You can start out by saying Andor was longer.
Much
per
longer.
Episode.
Yeah.
The length, I mean, there were more episodes.
Per minute of runtime, I think. I mean, I don't have the math or the numbers in front of me, but I would assume Andor was actually less.
Yes.
And probably by a decent margin, too.
But another huge thing to look at is people scrutinize the budget for Acolyte because when you watch the Acolyte, you can't figure out where that money went.
Yeah, it doesn't... I mean, there's some visuals in there that are nice, don't get me wrong, but like when you watch Andor, I feel like every scene is on point. You're on location, everything looks good.
Andor
it feels
felt
like
polished.
There it is. There's the word. Andor felt polished, and Acolyte feels kind of amateur.
I mean, I saw interviews and stuff when Andor was going on that people were talking about how fantastic the set dressing was. The actors were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna walk over here. I'm gonna open a cabinet and take something out. Can you put something in the cabinet?" He walked over and he opened it just like in this test thing, and he's like, "Oh, there's already stuff in there."
Yeah, that you would never, ever see.
No, they put it there because it's supposed to be there. And that's phenomenal. That there was just, the set dressing was on point, they had little Easter eggs, everything looked correct.
Everything looked good. It looked near movie quality, I would say. You never felt like, oh, this looks like they're on a little dinky lot somewhere trying to film this. And there were times in Acolyte where you felt that. And it has nothing to do with how I felt about the show itself. Just visually, I thought at times it looked cheap, whereas Andor looked on point pretty much every scene.
It looked good, and the story was there. Because, I mean, let's face it, Rings of Power looks good.
Yeah.
But there's story issues. If the story caliber matched the caliber of what they spent making it look good...
it would be the best show that's ever existed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't just spend your budget one way or the other. You have to make sure... If you're going to have that kind of a budget...
If you're going to spend that kind of money, you would think the script would be the most...
important piece?
Not even important, but just, picked over and, like, perfected thing. Because you're going to spend like nearly $1 billion on a season, and you're like, well, the script doesn't matter.
I mean, going forward, and I don't know how much the budget's going to be when it comes out for Andor Season 2, but we do know that Disney's trying to cut back a little bit. We know that going into the future here, that Star Wars shows are probably not going to be that expensive. At this point... Current project, Agatha All Along, that's airing right now, is the lowest cost show in that franchise thus far.
And it looks it too. It looks cheap.
It does look cheaper. Yeah. I mean, you could tell. I mean, the sets
are tiny. Like, how is it? They're doing
generic.
A lot of
they're very generic.
The
You're
road,
walking into show houses.
Yeah, it does.
Filmed in IKEA.
It does have that vibe. And the road is very generic looking, to be honest.
It's like they didn't want to make too many different sets because...
No.
And the roads, they probably walked over that one section of road 800 times.
Probably. You're not even, they just moved some plants along in the background, a little bit of it, lighted a little different, and there you go. You have a different part of the road.
Different part of the road. It's all good.
What's kind of ironic about the whole lowering or lessening budget is Kenobi Season 2 would actually be, I think, kind of a prime target. Because you could just do it completely small scale on Tatooine. Not many sets. You don't need a lot of big action. You need some, yes, but I mean...
Absolutely.
And I'm not condoning or advocating for it, whatever you want to put it, but it actually would make sense. So that That's kind of why when you add it all together, what we've heard about lessening the budgets and McGregor is now in talks to some degree. They're throwing around ideas. Like, I think Kenobi season 2 happens. And I think we're going to hear about it at Celebration.
I'm just very curious what kind of budget they'll give it.
Not much. I don't think it's going to get a big budget, but I think they look at the numbers it got and like, okay, so people liked this, quote unquote.
Quote unquote. It did bring people.
People watched it. Now, liked it, watched it. They don't care. It's all the same to them at Disney. So they're going to see that, and they're going to hear like, well, people actually would have been okay with a smaller scale. You say they would have been okay just him chilling on Tatooine. Oh, let's do that again.
Could that be the 2027 show?
Maybe.
Because we know next year, 2025, Andor is going to be the live action. Year after that, we're probably going to get the next season of Ahsoka. Yep. And I think they're going down to one live action show a year, which means maybe Kenobi season 2 coming for 2027.
So. I think you're, like I said, my not so bold prediction is at Celebration this year, Ewan comes back out on stage and like, we're doing it. Hello there, we're doing it again.
Well, you know what? Seeing as we're talking about quality shows and we talked about Marvel a little bit, we do have some updates on Daredevil Born Again. I'm very interested in this show.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, they got back Charlie Cox for this.
Not for She-Hulk?
Not for She-Hulk. Not for the 2-second cameo in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They got him back for this. They brought back Kingpin for this.
Yeah. Not for
Echo. Though he was good in Echo.
I thought
he was very good.
A lot of people hated Echo. I thought Echo was just...
It was run-of-the-mill. Fine. It was okay.
It was fine. It wasn't good.
The ending could have been better.
I hate it all around. Could have been better. Let's be real. But
there was some good, but they could have done better. Yeah. But high point of it was Kingpin.
Yeah, he always is. I mean, he's one of those actors / characters that just works, and when he's on screen, his presence is
felt.
Yeah, literally felt by you sitting at home.
But interestingly, the first round of test screenings have happened because the show is pretty much to the done phase and comes out in March next year.
Hard to believe. It feels like it was just like announced at Comic-Con.
I know, originally they announced 18 episodes, but that's because it's a part 1, part 2. We're going to get 9 episodes. These 9 episodes will be 1 hour approximately per episode.
What do you mean? Not 20 minutes?
Not
like
20 minutes.
Latest
no.
episode?
No, they want this to be a longer show. They also have come out saying it is more mature. It has a very gritty tone, even more so than the Netflix series. Now, mind you, people who get test screenings, we do not know if they're
intelligent. The ability to speak and watch a Marvel show for a test screening does not make you intelligent.
Yeah, they also are stating there are going to be several cameos and a funeral scene that is featured in the first episode. So we'll get some cameos right off the bat, some sort of a funeral. Maybe She-Hulk died and he went to a funeral.
You would be so happy. That alone you'd score that up perfect.
She-Hulk. So sad. Oh, okay.
I find that hard to swallow because the Netflix show is pretty brutal. It pulls Netflix no punches, literally. Yeah.
So if this can truly hold up to being the same, at least the same tone,
even in the ballpark, it doesn't necessarily. Right. You kind of expect Disney Marvel to be a little. I mean, if Disney
it's
Plus.
In those kind of terms, you're almost thinking this is going to be like a rated R type production because the Marvel one was violent. It was gritty. Yeah. There was blood. There was violence.
Heads getting slammed in car doors and Punisher doing things.
That was hard to watch. Yeah.
It's violent. It's intense. It's not for younger viewers. So if it's somehow more than that, I don't know how.
Now, Brad Winderbaum, who's the head of streaming television and animation at Marvel, stated that the New York City in Daredevil Born Again is as intricate, problematic, and scary as the world of Game of Thrones. People love to throw Game of Thrones in there, but you got to be careful because that sets a high bar.
Yeah, it might just be the
first. Are you talking the end season, or are we talking?
Yeah, season 8 maybe because that was real intricate. All right. But no, the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones might be the best show ever, just all around. Yes. So you got to be careful when you start. And look, you obviously want to talk your show up, but be careful.
Winderbaum went on to say, all the forces vying for control can be really hopeful at times and really violent at times and dark, but also there's light at the end of the tunnel if you can fight for it. We do know that, according to some official plot stuff that we've seen around, that Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk are attempting to leave behind their darker alter egos to serve the people of New York, only to have their past catch up to them. Now, if you watched Echo, you'll know the last time we saw Wilson Fisk, he had just become the mayor. The new cast, it's out there now. We've got some names that are familiar. We've got some love interests for Matt Murdock, and they didn't list She-Hulk as one of them. It's okay.
That was just a one-night stand thing
Frank
anyway.
Castle, the Punisher, will be in there. We've got Bullseye's going to be in there. Vanessa Fisk will be back. We've got a lot of interesting things. Part 1 is coming out, like I said, March 2025. It'll be 9 episodes that are approximately an hour. And Part 2 is scheduled to begin filming next month. That's all I got, sorry.
That's all right, because that's going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Let us know what you think of any and all of today's news, that Andor budget, or I guess Daredevil is going darker than Netflix.
We'll see.
We will. But until next time, thanks for watching.